Point, Katie. I'm tired of this cat. So, it's going to have a gem, and this is Parashat Vayigash 5778. And do you know why they call it Vayigash? Because when the brothers find out who the king or the regent of Mitzrayim really is, they'll go, Vayigash! It's a big shock to them. We're going to have a trick at the end. Magic. You see this paper? You see this paper? Just you wait. So, here I am with my patented nutshell. And these are a bunch of pictures that we're going to talk about. We're going to tell the whole story of Yosef from the beginning until the final dramatic climax. Perhaps the most dramatic moment in all of Tanakh. When Yosef reveals himself to his brothers. So, here's Yosef, and his Abba gave him a coat of many colors, which he made. And that coat made the other brothers, jealous. How come Daddy made a coat for him and not for me? Have you ever had such a thought in your head? So, then, some wonderful things happened to Yosef. He had dreams. First, he had a dream that the brothers all bowed down to him. They were represented by sheaves of wheat. And they all bowed down to his sheaf. Then, he had another dream. He told them that dream, and then he told them this dream. And in this dream, the sun and the moon and the stars all bowed down to him. And the brothers were really upset at this point. And they said, he thinks he's going to take us all over and be the king of us. Well, we can't let that happen. So, he went one day, his Abba said, go tell me what's going on with your brothers. And he encountered a man in the field, and the man said, what do you seek? Not where are you going, where are you trying to go, what do you seek? And he said, my brothers. And some say this means, I want my brothers to like me and not hate me. But of course, if you want them to like you, don't go talking about things like you're all going to bow down to me twice. So he got there and they said, what do we do with this dreamer? And somebody said, let's kill him. And somebody else said, oh, we shouldn't kill him. And they threw him in a pit. And the pit had snakes and scorpions in it. But that wasn't them killing because Hashem controls the snakes and the scorpions. And if he doesn't want them to bite him, they don't. And they didn't. So he lived. And then he was sold to slavers, people who took him and took him away. And they took him down to Mitzrayim. And he was working in the house of Potiphar, who was the Paro's butcher. Yeah, that's a very weak one. And he got in trouble there, and Potiphar put him in the king's prison. And who was in there with him? Paro's baker and Paro's wine server. And they told them they each had a dream. They were troubled by it. And the wine server said, I had a dream about grapes and wine in my cup. And Yosef said, in 3 days, Paro's going to raise you back up and you get your old job back. So the baker said, ooh, good story. What's the deal with me? And my dream was that the birds were eating breads and pastries out of my hat, a basket on top of my head. And Yosef said, that means in 3 days, Paro will hang you. Bad news. And that's exactly what happened. So eventually, Paro had some dreams. He dreamt that there were 7 ears of grain that came up, and then 7 skinny grains came up after them and ate them. And then there were 7 big fat cows, and then 7 skinny cows came after them and ate them. And he said to his wise men, "What's the story here?" And they all couldn't figure it out. And then the wine steward said, "Oh, now I remember, there was a kid, a Hebrew slave, in the pit with me, and he interpreted my dream." So Paro brought him out, said, "Get him out, clean him up, put some clothes on him, and bring him here in front of me." And this is the picture of that Yosef comes and explains that what these 2 dreams about the fat cows and skinny cows and the good wheat and bad wheat all mean is that there'll be 7 years of a lot of food, a lot of grain, and then 7 years of no grain at all. So what I think you do, said Yosef, is get somebody who's really wise and have him take over and grow a lot of good wheat and save it up. And Paro said, "Who could be wiser than this boy here?" And nobody could say anything. So he said, "Okay, Yosef, you are in charge of the whole country, and except for my home, you're the most important guy, and you can do whatever you want, whatever you say." So, meanwhile, they were running out of food up in Canaan, and they came down and bought some food, and then they came back, and Yosef said to them, "When you come back," or they didn't know who he was, "if you don't bring back your little brother Binyamin, you can't see my face, no food." So finally they had to come back, so they came back, and he made a trap as if Binyamin had stolen his special cup. And they knew it was a lie, but what could they do? Yosef is the king of the whole world. So Yosef said, "Okay, I'll keep Binyamin." And Yehuda said, "You can't do that." Yehuda argued with Yosef, and he said, "If you do this, if you take him away, my poor father's heart will break." And you know what Yosef was thinking? For 22 years since you sold me, every Yom Kippur you go before Hashem and you feel like you're good. But for those whole 22 years, my father's heart was breaking. And you didn't tell him what had happened to me. You lied and you didn't care how our daddy felt. But he didn't say that. So he said, finally, after Yehuda was arguing, Yosef couldn't take it anymore, and he said, "Everybody else out of here, just these boys." And then he said, he turned to them and he said, "I am Yosef. Is my father still alive?" And that's how he got to them the message. Look what you did to Daddy for 22 years. You made him cry all 22 years. You didn't tell him what really happened. And now you're telling me you're so concerned about Binyamin that Daddy's heart would be broken. You didn't care if Daddy's heart was broken before that. And the boys, the brothers, were all in shock. "You're Yosef?" And Yosef had changed a lot from being somebody who was very proud. And he said, "Yes, but don't blame yourselves. God did this so that we would have food. Everything is in Hashem's hand. And I don't blame you. If I have to forgive you, I forgive." So, that's that. And now, the trick. So, you see there's a hole in this paper? Now, is there a hole in this paper? Look very carefully. And is there a hole in this dollar bill? Right there, right there. It's not a real dollar bill, by the way. It's a pretty good photocopy. So what we have to do is we have to fold this dollar bill, and then we have to very carefully insert this screwdriver into the dollar bill, and pow! I just made a hole in the dollar bill. paper. No hole in the dollar bill. Not that way. How could it happen? I wonder if maybe the screwdriver went in a different. So, go ask your mommy or your daddy for $100 bill. No. Shabbat shalom.